In the aftermath of last Saturday's devastating attack by Hamas on Israel, the true horror of the situation has become painfully evident. The loss of innocent lives, including women, children, and the elderly, has left a profound scar on both sides. With the death toll surpassing 1,200, this attack marks the deadliest day for Jews since the Holocaust. The repercussions of these events are spiraling into a conflict of unprecedented magnitude in the Middle East. It is undeniable that Israel has the right to defend itself against such a murderous assault, free its hostages, and restore its people's sense of security. The desire to confront Hamas and demand retribution for the suffering of Israelis is a natural and understandable response. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, long seen as the protector of his nation's safety, faces tremendous pressure to respond with maximum force. However, the decision to order half of Gaza's population to evacuate their homes evokes memories of the forced displacement Palestinians have endured since 1948. A blockade that denies water, food, and power to an already impoverished territory, followed by a ground offensive, may appear as collective punishment of civilians who, for the most part, hold little affection for Hamas. The death toll among Palestinians, already at 1,800 due to Israel's bombardment, raises concerns. International allies have rightfully condemned the recent outrages and pledged their support to Israel. The US and UK are sending ships to assist and deter further escalation. However, the true assistance that Friends of Israel can provide is a stern warning about the dangers, both for Israel and the wider Middle East, of a response that results in mass civilian casualties among Palestinians. As US Secretary of State Antony Blinken stated, "We democracies distinguish ourselves from terrorists by striving for a different standard, even when it's difficult." Israel must make every effort to adhere to the principles of post-World War II humanitarian law, differentiating between combatants and civilians, minimizing harm to populations, and taking only militarily necessary actions. In densely populated Gaza, this is an exceptionally challenging task. Failing to uphold these principles could endanger international support and sympathy for Israel and potentially ignite a catastrophic regional conflict. It may trigger an uprising in the occupied West Bank, open a new northern front between Hezbollah and Israel, and draw in other regional states. Western capitals must intensify diplomatic efforts, working with regional neighbors to secure the release of Israeli hostages and ensure de-escalation. They must also work tirelessly to establish humanitarian corridors out of Gaza. While Israel certainly deserves the world's sympathy, it must also reflect on the lessons from past conflicts with groups like Hamas and Hezbollah. The US invasions of Afghanistan and Iraq in the wake of 9/11 had devastating consequences, failing to eradicate extremist groups and even giving rise to new ones. In a region where two peoples have been locked in enduring conflict, breaking the cycle of violence necessitates finding a viable path for Israelis and Palestinians to coexist with dignity. Addressing the root causes of this conflict is the only way to ensure that Israelis never have to endure the horrors of last week's atrocities again. As the world watches and hopes for a peaceful resolution, the plight of both Israelis and Palestinians remains at the forefront of our concerns. The road to peace is a challenging one, but it's a path that must be taken for the sake of all those affected by this long-standing conflict.